Shives breaks a new record. In 1947, Chuck Yeager broke the sound barrier. A new milestone in 2016. YouTuber Steve Shives broke the stupidity barrier by producing the most idiotic video he ever made.
Yes, I'm a YouTube atheist, but try not to hold that against me, okay?
Just that you are a hypocrite.
Here are 5 toxic things about YouTube atheism. Number 1, it has a sexism problem. Many of the most popular atheists on YouTube are brazen anti-feminists who insult and belittle women and men, but mostly women, who speak out against gender inequality.
No, Steve, they recognize feminism as the problem it is. Whenever one tries to expose this, your feminist friends will do anything to ruin this person by doxing, going after jobs, careers, and effectively ruining lives, but you will never mention this. Won't you, Steve?
They also proudly deny the existences of things like the wage gap.
Nope, we don't deny it, but when you add, for the same job to the sentence, feminists start lying. The same job equals same pay, but it never is the same job, is it, Steve?
Rape culture, gender imbalances in political and cultural representation, and other problems that are widely accepted and seriously discussed outside of the misogynist circle jerk that is the atheist community on YouTube.
Nice of you, to sum up the feminist illusions that have been debunked into exhaustion, and still you cannot understand why people are against feminism. Do you really believe your own bullshit?
It also has a racism problem. Number 3, it has a religious bigotry problem too. The ugliest religious bigotry in the YouTube atheist community is of course directed at Muslims, who are commonly stereotyped as potential terrorists and whose religion is viewed as inherently worse and more dangerous than any other.
Steve, as an atheist you should at the least be skeptical about any religion. Islam is worse than any religion in the world, and it is the deadliest spreading world peace problem. You must be completely blind not to see this happening.
But there's still plenty of judgmental condescension left over for Christians and religious folks in general.
And with this you mean Christian fundamentalists and creationists that are taking over schools to deny science and progress? This is what atheism is about, getting rid of religious dogma, and you are defending this shit with your feminist diatribe.
Many YouTube atheists will still cite belief in God. Number 4, it's addicted to drama and conflict.
Perhaps you should consider to take a look in the mirror?
Some of the most watched atheists on YouTube today began making videos in response to creationists. Some of them conducted themselves with class, dignity, and intellectual honesty, striving to have civil conversations with often exasperating adversaries. But even back in those less fractious early years, before the community's pervasive racism and sexism surfaced, the most popular personalities were those who gleefully bullied their targets.
But they never did things like doxing, or getting them fired by their employers as your feminist buddies like to do. Disagreement and debunking of arguments is not bullying. For Christ's sake, grow a backbone.
Small wonder then that once the creationist opponents had been exhausted, the bullies turned and found new enemies within atheist circles.
Wrong again. This happened after third wave feminism married atheism plus, and presented their unique doctrine of being offended by any critique, and call it harassment, like you constantly do yourself, Steve.
And it turns out that most people who enjoyed watching obnoxious white dudes attack Christians were just as entertained by watching those same obnoxious white dudes attack women, Muslims, and racial justice activists.
Do you mean women like these specimens, Steve? And with racial justice activists, you mean Black Lives Matters, right?
That the YouTube atheist community is now dominated by professional trolls.
Crap, Steve, when will you grow back your fucking balls, you babbling vagina?
Who manufacture conflict in order to generate content and views would be bad enough if the damage they caused was confined to YouTube. but it's not. Number 5, it reflects poorly on the rest of the atheist movement. Ever wonder why, with a few notable exceptions, YouTube atheists are not invited to address secular conferences?
You fucking lying cunt. They refuse to come to events that are infested by political correct social justice warriors and feminists, whining about their safe spaces.
Or represent atheist organizations to the public? If you're lucky, your first contact with atheism on YouTube came in the form of one of the more responsible voices, like Aaron Ra, Seth Andrews, or Matt Dillahunty.
Don't compare yourself to these 3 men, especially Seth Andrews. How about Dark Matter 2525, who now apologizes for ever giving you the shout out that made your channel big?
But unfortunately, it's much more likely that before you got to them...
Look at his illustration, that actually tells the truth. Feminism is the cancer that is destroying the atheist community. All lives do matter, and stop treating Islam like they are an oppressed minority.
We atheists like to pat ourselves on the back for being more reasonable than the religious folks, but I don't think that's true. And judging by the most visible representatives of our movement on YouTube, the most unreasonable belief shared by many of us might be the belief that we're the reasonable ones. The hardest part is picking only 5. Catch you next time.
With this video containing this insane rant, you committed intellectual suicide. Or did you really think that beside your idiotic SJW and feminist fans, anyone will take you serious anymore? All this SJW and feminism lunatics have succeeded where Christian conservatives failed. They destroyed the unity between atheists. Just look at the difference between people attending the 2012 and the 2016 Reason rally. Congratulations, fucking morons.
"7 years ago, I invented the stupidity barrier, when this guy Steve Shives suddenly turned into a social justice warrior. It was so bad, that Dark Matter 2525, the channel that shouted out Shives' channel, apologized several times for even naming him. From the video I showed you, he became worse and worse. Last I checked, he is now divorced from his crazy feminist wife, and now makes Star Trek comment videos. Well, if you like to torture yourself, and want to see more of his crap, there are links in the description. Of course, a stupidity barrier is not realistic. I took a scale from Albert Einstein all the way down to a snail. And him breaking that scale, well, that must be the stupidity barrier. And it didn't stop there. On Twitter, Steve started to block everyone who criticized his utterly dumb change. He even had a special block bot, as it seems. And he earned the Twitter hashtag, blocked by Steve. At a certain moment, he had blocked so many people, apparently he had only himself left to reply. Breaking the stupidity barrier did not come out of the blue, right? Breaking the sound barrier makes you go supersonic. Going even faster will turn this into hypersonic. When it comes to YouTube and Twitter posts, there is so much dumb shit, it looks like the stupidity barrier is no longer sufficient. I am talking about the load of conspiracies and outrageous claims presented in social media. To name a few: flat earth, giant tree stumps, mudslides, chemtrails, QAnon, reptilians in the government, anti-vaccination, moon landing hoax, and the list goes on. Focusing on Twitter, I have found series of posts passing even Steve Shives. Currently that is not even hard to establish. Of course it starts with flat earth, like this one, claiming the earth the biggest lie in reality. And look here, going by the name Paul's Corner 21, calling the Greek gods fallen angels. And he has more of this insane gems, but I cannot see them anymore because he blocked me after I pointed out his mistake. The next one, with the nickname OccultBot, posted something so insane, you have to read it yourself. You need to pause the video for that. Seeing this tweet, I began to think, where does this end? Is there something like absolute insanity? If so, there must be an insanity barrier, and perhaps there are those who can probably break it, right? Perhaps after this we get to the delirium state? Is there even a border for that? Who knows? Just how insane can someone become? Until that time, I will show you some candidates who come close to the insanity barrier. The first one, of course, is Eric Dubé. However, there is a possibility this is not really him, but a fan account. As a flat earther, Eric Dubé is as crazy as they get. And this account shows it well. And here we have someone who goes by the name, Brett Flat Earther. As the ultimate proof that the earth is flat, he does his own research by looking up the memes he likes, which have been posted by others, that also probably have found them, somewhere on the net. The one calling himself Nikola 3, is probably the biggest insult to one of the great scientists of the early 20th century, Nikola Tesla. I bet because of the utter insanity this Nikola 3 puts on Twitter, Nikola Tesla spins in his grave, like the alternating current motor he invented. This guy really is putting such insane messages on Twitter, that you will shake your head in disbelief. He finds 666 and Satan everywhere, thinks radio signals call illnesses, also claims the earth is flat, but likely thinks he lives in the Stargate SG-1 universe. Like all of these Twitter frauds, he shouts, "This is photoshopped," at every evidence he does not like. But he is not ashamed to bamboozle his critics with photoshopped pictures himself. Will this bragger break the insanity barrier? I really don't know, but he comes really close. Because they fight with memes, I call them meme slingers, wanting to be the fastest meme on the net. Looking for candidates the venom can sit in the small messages, like this one here. I think I made my point here. The insanity runs rampant on Twitter like social media. So we, Glober Mom, Slim Living Cyborg, and me, want to turn this into a contest. Who is most likely to break the insanity barrier? Well, this was all for today. More information coming soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, become a patron, and that stuff, and I will see you next week.